Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, you guys? Yes, welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee. Committee of one, a bell cow backfield here. Myself, Zach Bruner. How's it going? We have one game left on the fantasy football slate. Monday Night Football. We got Vikings and Bears. That'll be an interesting one, especially as a Packer fan. But today, and I think every Monday, we did this a lot last year, we are basically going to be going over some of the biggest fantasy football news and answering your questions. So a lot of it will be trending players with ad drop players and stuff like that. We'll be going over injuries. We'll be going, today, after week one, we're going to be going over some snap counts. If you haven't seen it yet, you can go to flurrysports.org. I wrote over 3,000 words for you last night, going over the snap counts of the first 15 games. Obviously, we don't have Monday Night Football yet, but we have a bunch of games. We got a bunch of snaps. We got a bunch of analysis that we can go through, and I'll show you some of that article today. We may even just go through the snap counts overall. Lots of good stuff to take from that because preseason, every coach uses the preseason differently. Some of them are trying out new things. Some of them just simply need to get some players some experience because, hey, regular season, they're not going to play them. So there isn't a ton we can take from preseason, from training camp, from all of that, because every coach uses it differently. And we all made our, opinions, our analysis, our predictions based off of that. And then now, week one, the rubber meets the road. Then we get to see, okay, what was real, what was not real. And I am going to be taking you through all of that. And again, this is Overreaction Monday, man. I mean, this is the day where people are going to overreact the most. So not everything we can take from the week one games will be just gospel, right? I don't think Jamar Chase is a bust. I don't think any of that. But I do think snap counts tell us a lot more than the box score does because opportunity leads to productivity. The most value we can take from week one is look at snaps and look at targets. Overall looks. Targets plus carries. That'll give us the best projected overall picture of what we could expect moving forward. Let me just take a couple looks here while we get started, just to make sure the stream is okay. Doing this by myself, usually I have other people talking and I can look myself, but I think we're good to go. Yes, looks like we're good to go. Okay. Just wanted to double check that. So what we are going to do is we are going to start out like we did a lot last year. And again, if you have any questions, if you're watching on Twitter especially, you have to click in to ask questions. That was the confusion last year. You can't just tweet at it. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe because we are basically figuring out our schedule here. I think Monday afternoon, like right now, as we live and breathe, difficult breathe, considering I'm sick and combined with allergies, but we power through. Like Kyler Murray, apparently he was sick. Who cares? Monday afternoon, we'll be doing this kind of stream going over just a recap, vent, whatever it needs to be of the fantasy football weekend. We will do that on Monday. Tuesday evening, we will be doing an ad drop stream. So come with your ad drop questions. We'll be telling you who to pick up. We have a ad drop article, a waiver wire article going up on Flurry Sports on Tuesday as well. So that'll be on Tuesday, all of that information. Wednesday night, no fantasy show like we did last year. Instead, it's just Lombardi sweep. So a Green Bay Packers show. If you want insight on the Green Bay Packers from Packer fans, and Luke and myself specifically cover the Packers and have insider knowledge, definitely come and listen and watch that. Thursday night, leading up to Thursday Night Football. So an hour before Thursday Night Football until kickoff, we are here doing start-sit analysis. And then on Thursday morning, there's a video for NFL Survivor Pool picks that Luke does himself as well. So definitely watch that video. Week 1, hey, we survived. We survived, and that's all Survivor is about, right? Luke picked the Bengals, and was it pretty? No. But hey, do you feel good about picking the Bengals at any other point now this rest of the season after that? You probably don't, so hopefully you listen to him. Got the Bengals out of the way, and let's move forward with some better football teams, eh? But without further ado, I think we should just get into some fantasy football shit, eh? After all, we are 6 minutes into the stream. 6 minutes you won't get back. Okay, here we go. So like last year, like I was saying, a lot of times we went over the top trending players up and down, and this kind of gives us an indication of what other people are going to be doing for ad drops as well. And I'll tell you, hey, maybe this is worth it. Maybe this is not worth it for you. So top 10 trending players. What is real? What is not? And this is on Sleeper Fantasy. And these are the redraft ownerships. So the most trending player is Quentin Johnston, played on Friday night. Even surprised me. I'm not a huge Quentin Johnston guy, but I got to say he looked good. And the knock has never been really talent. I questioned his ability to separate, considering he's a Big 12 wide receiver, and he couldn't really catch. Well, they got him the ball in space, and like he always has been with the ball in space, he was electric. He was great. Picked up in, is this 14 million? How many? I'm looking at numbers here. At the very least, it's 1.4 million, and it could be 14 million. I'm guessing it's 1.4 million. Pickups, good for Sleeper, by the way. A lot of people there, but owned in 9% of leagues. So certainly going to be one of the top pickups. He is somebody that you definitely should pick up, and we'll get into snap counts in a little bit. But Quentin Johnston, actually, I can just look at that right now since we're talking about it. Why not? We'll flip back and forth. That makes the most sense to do. Quentin Johnston, not even a little bit bothered by the rookie, right? Quentin Johnston played 53 of the 65 snaps, 38 of the 43 routes run. Trey Harris, 5. I expect Trey Harris to increase, obviously, but he is not even close to a threat at the moment. And by the way, we'd be having a very different conversation if Quentin Johnston played a boatload of snaps but sucked. He played a boatload of snaps and was great. So makes sense that he is one of the pickups. The Chargers overall looked very, very good. I know that Amarian Hampton wasn't overall efficient, and Najee Harris barely played. Najee snaps will rise now that he's actually back with the team, right? But Amarian Hampton is the better running back, and he's a 3-down running back. Quentin Johnston's snaps seemingly will stay the same, and I think Keenan Allen played really well with his snaps as well, so I think he'll stay the same. We know what Ladd will do. So even if we loved Trey Harris, and I was still... at the moment was and still a little iffy on him, but even if I was head over heels in love with him, there's only so many snaps to go around, and who's he taking out of the lineup? I think that's the issue at the current moment. Quentin Johnston was the person he was going to take out of the lineup, but he played so well that doesn't seem to be the case, right? So I think it makes sense that he is the number 1 most trending pickup here. But yeah. Number 2, Kelvin Austin. This is the guy I've been telling you is the wide receiver 2, and he dominated snaps, and he played really well, right? Let's go over to Pittsburgh now. In terms of Roman Wilson and Skoranek, they're the ones fighting for that wide receiver 3 spot. Neither of them played in 2 wide receiver sets. So that's important to note. But yeah, Kelvin Austin, 30 of the 36 routes run, played really well. Obviously, DK is the wide receiver 1 there, but I thought Kelvin Austin looked really good, and he's got the trust of Aaron Rodgers, and what else do you need, right? And Rodgers, fucking A. Love what Rodgers did. Justin Fields, the number 3 most trending player. He's in that game, and he looked fine, to be honest. and I say fine as an optimistic fine, he wasn't outstanding. He wasn't bad. The Jets' offensive line looked decent. Physical. They looked decent without Elijah Vera Tucker, who's their best offensive lineman, right? But I think the Jets are going to be physical. I thought the running game was okay. Breece Hall looked good. And Garrett Wilson looked better than I thought, or better than I expected as well. So I think Justin Fields is good. The thing is, the Jets play so few players while playing so physical that people are going to wear down. I think Justin Fields included. So would I sell out my team for Justin Fields? No. He's already owned in 59% of leagues, though. So I don't expect there to be a ton to talk about with Justin Fields. Like, could you pick him up and start him? Who's he play next week? He plays Buffalo. Are you starting him against Buffalo? I don't hate it. I mean, we saw what obviously Lamar just did, but Lamar's in a class of his own. Yeah, Fields fine. I wouldn't say he's the third most priority pickup, but cool. Dylan Sampson, though. Dylan Sampson's a dog. I like Dylan Sampson a lot. Owned in 52% of leagues. So again, look to see where he's at. If you're in ESPN leagues, I can only assume this number is lower. Usually the sharps, if you want to call them that for fantasy football, are on Sleeper. So the casuals are on ESPN, and players like this are probably owned less. So if you're on ESPN and even Yahoo, take a look. But Dylan Sampson, 43% of the snaps, and he was the one who played really well. And the thing is, Quinshon Judkins is coming back. But what Quinshon Judkins is going to do when he comes back is not going to affect Dylan Sampson. This is the snap count article on Flurry Sports. Definitely go to flurrysports.org. Check this out because I have the snap counts and I have analysis. Look at that. You are welcome. But looking at the Browns here, Jerome Ford was the majority ball carrier, or I'm not even sure if he carried the ball the most, but he dominated snaps, right? 41 of the 76 snaps. He was so bad. It was a classic Jerome Ford game. I'm not a Jerome Ford guy, obviously, with the way I'm talking. A couple typos here. I'll go fix that. But Quinshon Judkins is coming back for this role. He's not the guy. He's not coming back to take anything from Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson's going to be this, right? He's going to come in and catch the ball a ton, and he's going to be the change of pace for running the football as well. He didn't run super well, but 8 for 64, that's going to very much be needed. It's going to be the exact same role that Judkins was in college with Trevion Harrison, right? Or Henderson, sorry. So we're looking at the new Thunder and Lightning backfield for Cleveland. I think they're both very talented. I think Judkins joins the lineup as soon as this week 2 talking. I don't think it's not going to be a light switch. He comes in and has this full role. I think he's going to be eased in. But again, I don't think that affects Dylan Sampson. So if this type of performance is good enough for you from Dylan Sampson, I'm not expecting 8 catches, 64 yards necessarily, but I think he could push for close to 10 points from his receiving ability in PPR leagues each week. So if that's useful for you, I think definitely go pick him up. Daniel Jones now. Daniel Jones is somebody who picked Jonathan Taylor in a touchdown survivor league. Fuck you, Daniel Jones. However, Daniel Jones played well, man. It's the Dolphins, so grain of salt because the Dolphins stink. But everyone rushing to go pick up Daniel Jones. He's owned in 10% of leagues. I understand he looked good. Are you starting him against the Broncos? Because I'm not. Are you starting him against the Titans? Because I'm not. Are you starting him against the Rams? Maybe, but I'm probably not. So if that's the case and you really want Daniel Jones, wait, because I think whoever spends top dollar for Daniel Jones is going to be dropping him after the Broncos, or maybe after the Titans, or maybe after the Rams. After that, I mean, shoot, we got Raiders, fine. We got the Cardinals, fine. Chargers, that's a little tough. Then we got the Titans again. Steelers could be feeling themselves at that point. So schedule-wise, I don't think you need to go pick up Daniel Jones. I understand a lot of his ability was with his legs. I don't expect 2 touchdowns, obviously. But in terms of through the air, Against the Broncos, against the Titans, and possibly even against the Rams, I'm not optimistic. So no need to go get Daniel Jones. Harold Fannin, the Browns love this dude. They absolutely love this dude. Roster in 6% of leagues, 173,000 pickups. I think that is more than warranted. This guy, 9 targets, 7 receptions. I think he had a carry or 2 as well. He's going to be used all over the lineup. Him and Tyler Warren are my 2 tight ends. I love them. I absolutely love them. Since I have this year, 55 snaps out of 76. 55. He's the wide receiver 3, folks. Isaiah Bond, 21 snaps too, by the way. I think that's only going to go up. But Harold Fannin's a very good player. They want to get him the football. They're really optimistic about him. Does it cut into Njoku? Maybe a little bit. They're going to be playing a ton together, as you saw here, obviously. 64 snaps for Njoku, 55 for Fannin. He is worth a pickup. Like, I think he's interesting. If you're in a deep league, need a tight end, something like that, I think he's interesting. I think he's worth it. And if you're in a dynasty league, I don't know if this is the week to trade for him, because I assume the person who has him probably feels okay about him as well. But he is someone to keep your eye on because I like him a lot, and the Browns like him even more than I do. I can tell you that much. Kyle, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for the subscription. Let's work our way through this trending list, and then I'll get to your comment here. Keon Coleman, again, rostered in 76% of leagues. It's interesting that he's trending after being rostered in that many leagues. But I thought he looked good. He had a bad drop or 2. But he is certainly emerging as the receiver that the Bills really need him to be. They need him to be a red zone threat, which he proved he can do. And super athletic, super good. Like he's really interesting. Is he going to be any more than a wide receiver 3 for you? I don't know. But he's interesting for sure. Aaron Rodgers, my GOAT. I love me some Aaron Rodgers. And hey, I don't think he does 4 touchdowns each week, but I think he's efficient. And he's got Seattle, who's kind of tough. Patriots, who's tough. Vikings, who's tough, but he'll pick apart. Then he's got a bye week. Then he's got the Browns. So schedule's not super easy. I don't know if you need to scramble to go pick up Aaron Rodgers, but it's really fun to beat your opponent while starting Aaron Rodgers. That's all I'll say about that. Love him for that. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, we'll get to him maybe a little bit more in a second. But obviously, Chris Rodriguez was a healthy scratch. That certainly helped Ja'Cory Krosky. He ended up playing a third of the snaps, didn't play a single snap in the first quarter. Austin Eckler played every single snap in the first quarter. And then they were like, maybe we should try to win a football game because Austin Eckler sucks. So then Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I was not on the bandwagon. You guys seen my videos, heard my thoughts, and it kind of played out how I thought, minus Rodriguez being a healthy scratch. But he looked good. I think he's a good player. Obviously should have been drafted earlier than he was. It was just health concerns. But this week, he plays the Packers. I don't know how great of a matchup that is. But on Thursday Night Football, especially a short week on week 2, I expect a very simplified game plan for both teams. I expect running the football from both teams. And if the Commanders are going to go run heavy at all, it's going to be Krosky. It's not going to be Eckler. It's not going to be, I don't even remember who the other guy is there. It's not going to be McNichols. I like McNichols actually, but it's not going to be McNichols. So 33% of the snaps, I could see that being closer to 45 in this upcoming game. Will he average 8.2 per carry? Probably not. But I think he has the best chance to score a touchdown potentially of the running backs. Once again, though, like I said previously, we know Krosky's going to run the ball. We know Eckler's going to run the ball. We know McNichols is going to run the ball. We know Daniels is going to run the ball. We know Deebo Samuel is going to run the ball a little bit. So there's a lot to split there. If you can go pick him up, go pick him up. He's worth an own. But my overall confidence week to week, not extremely high. He's a flex, I would say. And then let's round it out here. quick hitters. Brenton Strange, I mean, we knew he was going to be used as a tight end in Jacksonville. I'm not sure why this is a surprise. I think people just want to chase tight end production, and I think he's going to be solid. We know they're going to use a tight end, and we know they're going to use Brenton Strange. So if 4 for 59 moves the needle for you, and this is what you need for your fantasy team, go pick him up. Plain and simple. We don't need to overthink that one. Will he usually get 59? Maybe not. He's probably closer to 8 fantasy points per week than 15. But hey, he's not bad. I'm interested to watch Kyle Mountain Guide tonight. He is trending upwards because we got Roschon Johnson inactive, most likely. I'm not sure if that's official yet. I don't think it's official quite yet, but I mean, he's going to be. They like this guy. He's a plotter. He's not extremely athletic by any stretch of the imagination, but he could be that short yardage guy, the power guy. While DeAndre Swift works between the 20s, maybe he's the guy who gets the goal line carries, and I think he's going to only earn himself more carries. I like Roschon Johnson, but for whatever reason, no people in the Chicago organization does. So I think we can completely shift our focus to the rookie. In terms of players who are trending downwards, Rodriguez, again, healthy scratch. Amari Cooper, retired. Tyler Bass, injured. Ollie Gordon, I mean, he didn't do much. I'm not sure if we need to drop him, but is what it is. Marvin Mims is splitting snaps for that wide receiver 2 spot. Tank Bigsby will get into it. Boy, bad. No snaps. Darnell Mooney injured the first week. When he comes back, he's going to be good. And then, yeah, Dameon Pierce, he's bad at football. Weird. Who knew? Oh, I do. Oh, crazy. Okay. Kyle, what's up, brother? I double stacked Allen with Shakir and Coleman. Was at 1% chance to win. Now at 66. Love that. I had Pickens, Worthy, and Kittle. He has Jefferson, and I have the Bears D up by 15. That's interesting. I think you're probably good. You're probably good, but I mean, we've seen some big Monday Night Football performances. We've seen them from Justin Jefferson as well. Hopefully you're good, but that's awesome. I have Worthy, I think, in one league, and I think I'm barely going to lose. So that's a really, and I played against Josh Allen. So that's a pretty fun thing, you know? Love that. Absolutely love that. That was a real kick in the nuts to start your fucking fantasy week, but I'm happy that you were able to overcome it. And the Kittle injury, man. Maybe that's how we start talking about George Kittle. This stinks. He's not out, right? Like more likely, I don't think it's going to be a tear. I think he just strained his hamstring. But I could see him missing a week. And with how physical and explosive George Kittle is, it's just so annoying because week 1, I think this is going to be a thing all year. Like it feels like a thing that's going to hamper him, limit him, or flare back up at points this season. And I hate that because he was supposed to have a great year. He would have had a great year. He started the year off great, getting that touchdown. Sucks for 49ers fans more, I suppose. But yeah, George Kittle now. I'm not loving it. I'll end up doing my rest of season rankings maybe starting week 3 or 4. Obviously, the snap count article is the big one for this week. And this is completely free on flurrysports.org. Over 3,000 words. So definitely go check this out. Stayed up late writing all of this. If you are so obliged, throw me a coffee. You can hit one of these things. Throw me a coffee. That'd be great. And if you want more of this snap count article, this is only going to be for members starting next week. So free this week, starting next week, $5 per month, but you get to join a group chat with me to ask fantasy questions with me and other people. You're going to get in-season stats. You're going to get my opportunity index, which is people like. If you haven't seen my opportunity index, that is a very good indicator for fantasy football. Lots of really good stats. You'll get that. You'll end up getting a strength of schedule breakdown for later in the season. So really good for buy low, sell high candidates. Trade value chart. All kinds of good stats and shit. You know what I mean? I will help you win a fantasy league for $5 per month. or $35 per year. That is calendar years. So if you get this full year membership, that means you get next season's draft kit as well. We had 32 or 33 pages in our draft kit this year. Best draft kit on the market, I guarantee you. For $10 normally and free for members, definitely worth it. But yes, go check out this article, and then if you like it, I suggest you become a member so you get it next week. Give this tweet a like too. Apparently people were as frustrated as I was because, a couple thousand likes on that bitch. Okay. Let's go through some injury news. If y'all got any other questions at any point, definitely subscribe, comment, ask away. I'm not on that screen, so it might take me a second to see it. But yeah, so this will help me get caught up as well on some things, I'm sure. But then I'll just talk about these injuries and, see what's going on. Jake Moody going to have his future evaluated. That's not a great headline for a Monday morning. Yeah, if he's your kicker, move on. Juwan Jennings going to undergo an MRI on his shoulder. Not surprising. The wide receiver 3 there is split between Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Russell Gage, which you can see in this article. So definitely go and read that on FlurrySports.org. But yeah, that's not necessarily great for next week. George Kittle, MRI on his hamstring again. I don't think it's going to be torn. That's pure speculation. But I hate soft tissue injuries a ton because it's just going to keep flaring up. It sucks. I would assume you need to make plans for next week if you have George Kittle. Drake London, shoulder sprain. Darnell Mooney, wide receiver 2, was already out with the shoulder. Hopefully returns next week. But if both miss, Ray McCloud will be good. He was decent this week. He'll be good once again. But Casey Washington? Is that his name? Yeah, Casey Washington dominated snaps. He completely took over the Darnell Mooney role this week regardless. But if both Mooney and Drake London are out next week, Ray McCloud will probably be the best fantasy start among the wide receivers. But Katerrell Hodge will be there as well. He's a big body that could replicate what Drake London can do a little bit. Maybe they use Kyle Pitts a little bit more, but am I going to put any stock into Kyle Pitts at any point in the rest of my life? No. You could have 3 500-yard games in a row, and I will bet the under the next one. Okay. Ray Davis ended up being active, I guess, for week 1. He played, I think, 10 snaps, so that should go up. Puka was bleeding out of his fucking eye. He was evaluated for a concussion. Turns out not a concussion, just bleeding from his eye. But he was good to go. He's a tough dude. I love Puka Nacua. But status for next week, definitely watch it just in case something flares up with the concussion. It could definitely set in post-game a little bit more. Plus, it could have been covered up, I suppose. But it certainly seems like he is okay and should play next week. But keep an eye on it. Brock Bowers, this is a kick in the nuts. Not concerned with his knee injury. That's good. But left, and the Raiders, all we heard is how great or how much they love Michael Mayer. So I can only assume they don't need to rush Brock Bowers back if there's any worry whatsoever. It sounds like he's going to play next week and he's fine, but definitely a situation to watch. The very clear tight end 1, right, in a tier of his own when healthy. Had 103 yards, even though he left. Hopefully he's good to go. But again, if you have Bowers, if you have Kittle, you're not going to know. Like, I think Kittle will have a better indication than Bowers early week. Just make plans. If you have Brock Bowers, go pick up Michael Mayer. Because if Bowers is out, Mayer is going to be good. Other injury news, Jaden Reed came back with a foot injury, was limited, but I thought he looked really good. Obviously, I'm a Packer fan. He's a good player. Packers will use him as a decoy more often than he should be, but he looked good. And hopefully he doesn't re-injure it because I think it's a Jones. So it's one of those pain threshold injuries, I would say. McCaffrey, this son of a bitch. We were like, is he going to play? We didn't know if Christian McCaffrey would play. He played 58 of the 76 snaps and played well. That's good, but we didn't know if he was going to play. Late injury ad, reminiscent of last year. Maybe it was just gamesmanship and just a FU to fantasy football players. But if he was skeptical whatsoever, I see that says wide receiver 2. I need to look through this. I wrote this at 2 a.m. last night. But if he was questionable whatsoever and then he gets 58 snaps, that makes me worried for his week 2 status, right? We'll see what happens, I suppose. I hope he's good to go. But he looked good. If he's healthy, start him. You don't need to worry whatsoever. But it wasn't, that's the one thing I saw from this. Like, okay, I wasn't sure if Christian McCaffrey would play. Wasn't sure if he would be limited. He played, was very much not limited. But he didn't leave. So, should be good to go. Here's this, though. Zach Charbonnet, Ken Walker. Let's talk about Seattle overall, but let's talk about this backfield. So this is a backfield we talked about a decent amount in the preseason. And I'll say what I said back then because I think it still applies, but there's a new wrinkle now. I think Ken Walker is one of the best running backs in the NFL when he's healthy. I think he's extremely, extremely talented. He's very, very good. But I think Zach Charbonnet fits the Kubiak offense better. I think he's more of a zone running back. And week 1, Zach Charbonnet played more snaps. Zach Charbonnet touched the ball more. Zach Charbonnet had a better fantasy game. So I don't know if this is a fluke. I think Ken Walker is great. I think in a vacuum, Ken Walker is probably a better player than Zach Charbonnet. Not to knock Charbonnet whatsoever. I think he's very good. But if the Seahawks have any aspirations for the playoffs, and I think they could sneak in, I think their defense is good enough where they could sneak in, then they need to keep Ken Walker healthy, and to do that, they have to manage his workload. So it's a little bit of that, and it's a little bit of Zach Charbonnet can thrive in this offense. So I think we're in for a true split. Will it be 30-20 like it was here? I don't know. It might be 25-25. Obviously, 52 plays. Hopefully we'll get closer to that 76 or at least like a 65 number. But yeah, I think Charbonnet is going to be fantasy relevant, but the split I think is going to be so even that both of these guys are probably more of a flex than an RB2 most weeks. You're just trying to pick the guy who gets the touchdown, right? This week it was Charbonnet. Next week it could be Ken Walker. And that blows. That's not fun. If you have one, hopefully you have the other. And then if one of them misses, the other one's an RB1. I'm not concerned about that. If Ken Walker's out, I think Charbonnet's an RB1. If Charbonnet's out, I think Ken Walker's an RB1. So try to own both of them. If you are a Charbonnet owner, maybe you can buy Ken Walker cheap. If you're a Ken Walker owner, I don't know if you can buy Charbonnet cheap. We'll see. The receiving core, though. Boy. This is interesting. Cooper Kupp, 46 snaps. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 40 snaps. That's not the interesting part. After playing 46 snaps, leading the team in snaps and leading the team in routes run, Cooper Kupp had 2 catches for 15 yards, 3 targets. I love Jackson Smith-Njigba, but you need to throw it to somebody else besides Jackson Smith-Njigba. Sam Darnold, what are we doing? I don't understand it. I bring this up to say this. What I assume Cooper Kupp's owned in damn near 100% of leagues, right? Cooper Kupp on sleepers owned in 91% of fantasy leagues. I think Cooper Kupp's a buy low candidate. There's no way that he continues to lead the Seahawks in routes, in snaps, and his numbers don't go up, right? So if you are able to buy low on Cooper Kupp, I think do so. I'm not buying low on him with the thought of him doing 9 for 124, right? But I'm buying low on him thinking that he could emerge as a reliable wide receiver 3. I think he could very much give you 5 catches for 50 yards and maybe a touchdown. That feels like what he is going to be. If he's going to play a ton of snaps, the ball will go his way. Opportunity leads to productivity in fantasy football. Trust me on that. So if you can buy low on Cooper Kupp, hell, if you can pick up Cooper Kupp, if somebody ends up dropping him for Quentin Johnston, picking up who's another wide receiver we already talked about. If people want to pick up Kelvin Austin and drop Cooper Kupp, I think gladly pick up Cooper Kupp. He played how many snaps? He played 46 of the 52 snaps. He was on the sideline for 6 plays. His numbers are going to go up. They have to. They absolutely have to. Now that we went down that rabbit hole, is there any other injury news I'm not thinking of? Bum. These were all... Oh, I mean, fucking Xavier Worthy. I mean, put a bullet in my head. Right away, dislocated his shoulder. That stinks. 3 snaps into the game. I assume he's going to keep playing. Like, maybe he's out a game. I'm not sure if we heard anything about his MRI, which to me sounds like that's probably not structural damage. But if you dislocate it once, easier to dislocate it again. It's going to be a pain thing a little bit as well. I assume they're going to put a brace on him, which means overall range, catch range is going to be a little bit lower. I'm not sure if it's going to be a full-on fucking Sully brace or something like I had to wear when I dislocated my shoulders. But yeah, the thing is with him, he's already not trying to avoid contact anyway. I think he's not going to be used as heavily as they wanted to use him. But I can see him playing this week and then running out of bounds more often than maybe we would want him to. Is he a wide receiver 2 anymore going forward? Probably not. He might be a wide receiver 3. With him out, though, regardless, Marquise Brown is a pickup. With Rashee Rice out, I'm not sure why Marquise Brown... Is he on here whatsoever? Right there, Hollywood Brown. He's owned in 31% of leagues. That's insane. I'm not sure why people didn't bother to pick him up when we found out Rashee Rice is out for 6 weeks. We knew Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown would be heavily featured. With Xavier Worthy out, obviously that multiplied 16 targets. That's insane. Next week, though, I mean, tough matchup, but he's going to get the football a lot regardless of if Worthy plays or not. Giants, he's going to see the ball a ton. Ravens going to see the ball a ton. Jacksonville's terrible, and he'll see the ball a ton. Detroit, they were bad this week. We'll see. Raiders, bad. So, I mean, go and pick up Hollywood Brown, man. 31% of leagues. Would I rather have Marquise Brown or Quentin Johnston? It's a real conversation because, one, I feel like we're potentially overreacting on Quentin Johnston. I thought he looked really good. So maybe not. I think I would like to own both of them. But in terms of targets, whose targets do I trust more for the first half of the season? I think it's Marquise Brown. Not saying I think he's going to get 16, but I think he's going to get 10, regardless of Xavier Worthy's status. Make sure you pick him up, please. I beg of you. Don't be dumb. Just make good decisions. Isaac Tesla caught a touchdown, played 3 snaps. That was stupid. Not sure why the Lions only played him 3 snaps, but whatever. What else do we got? If you guys got any questions now or after the fact, certainly ask away. Nino, I see you. What's up, brother? Let me move back to this. Okay. Need 8.46 PPR from Swift tonight. I think you'll get it. I mean, they like Modern Guy, but Swift, I think, is going to be good. I think they want to use him a lot. And the running back coach there is really good. What's his freaking name? It's from the Chiefs. The former OC from the Chiefs. What is his name? Coached at UCLA. He was the running back coach for Adrian Peterson. This is going to bother me, so I'm just going to look it up. Bears are Eric Bieniemy. Boom, nailed it. Yeah, Eric Bieniemy is their RB coach there now, so I think that's really good. Obviously, we got Ben Johnson there who wants to use his running backs a ton. The Vikings are good, but I think he'll get 8.46 from Swift. I can see between 4 and 6 catches for him pretty easily. And would I use the number one priority on Hollywood Brown? Potentially, yeah. Like I really trust his targets. I really trust his role. So would I pick up Hollywood Brown over Quentin Johnston? That's a conversation I'm going to have with myself in the mirror. Who do I trust more? And both have plenty of reasons to not be trustworthy. If we find out Xavier Worthy's not playing, I mean, I'm not sure if there's any doubt that I'd rather have Hollywood Brown. If you're picking up a player to start them for this week, I think who do the Chargers play? Let's look at that first. That's the smart way to decipher this. The Chargers play the Raiders. So not difficult. In the Chiefs play the Eagles. Is that what I said? Yes. If you need a wide receiver to start for this week, I think you're picking up Quentin Johnston and hoping it's not a fluke. If you need a wide receiver for, the first month or so, I think you're picking up Marquise Brown. If you need a tight end, if you have either Kittle or you have Brock Bowers, like maybe look for, obviously if Tyler Warren somehow, if you're in ESPN, if you play on ESPN, go pick up Tyler Warren. He's owned in like only half of leagues. So definitely go pick him up. But Michael Mayer is going to be a very popular pickup. If you have Brock Bowers, I think that's the way to go there. I think Harold Fannon's a very interesting pickup in deeper leagues at tight end. For running back, depends on where you're playing, but Dylan Sampson, I think, is trustworthy. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's interesting. He's owned in quite a few leagues, though. Kenneth Gainwell is the RB1 in Pittsburgh. If they get behind and they have to pass a bunch, then I think they use Jaylen Warren a little bit more. And then Caleb Johnson, they're just going to completely string along and just wait for him to not be a rookie anymore, essentially. They're not going to put their season on the line for Caleb Johnson. Good thing Marks was a late round guy for me. In a league, looks like he's dropped for Hollywood. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, you can drop Marks at this point. I think Marks eventually earns more snaps, but at the moment, you don't need to hang on to him. That's an interesting situation there, though. There's a few handcuff running backs right now where I'm certainly eyeing them. I mean, we got Marks in Houston. We got, what's his name? Is it Brooks in Cincinnati? He's interesting. Miami is interesting if they figure anything out. Jaden Blue's about to be very interesting just because didn't play week 1, and I think everyone's going to drop him. So I think he's interesting to pick him up. Nick asked, do we think holding Najee Harris is worth it for a couple of weeks? There's not really anyone out there to replace him with. If you're not replacing him with someone who you're starting, right? Like I think definitely hang on to him. The situation with the Chargers is super fun to talk about, at least, because normally you have that rookie running back who gets eased in. We're talking Trevion Henderson, Jesus. We're talking Trevion, we're talking Caleb Johnson, we're talking all of that. But in this scenario, it's completely flipped because Omarion Hampton was the one in camp, the one getting all of the work. Najee Harris, not only is he coming to a new team and learning a new offense as well, but he wasn't in camp whatsoever. So Najee's snaps are the ones that are actually going to increase. Amari Hampton's a much better player. He's a much better receiver, better runner, better everything. So I don't think he's going to lose the RB1 job, but Najee snaps will go up. They absolutely will. So worth holding on to, just because if Amari Hampton gets hurt, we know Najee's the guy. So worth holding on to as a handcuff, just as good of a handcuff as anybody at this point. And you drafted him late because you got Chuba, Genty, and Cook. Hopefully Genty gets a little bit better. But yeah, if he's just your RB4 bench guy, hold on to Najee. Might as well. How do we feel about Braylon Allen? I am a Wisconsin Badger, just so you know. So a little bit biased there. His stock was rising a lot in the offseason and got the touchdown, but Breece looked solid as well. I thought Breece Hall looked better than I expected. He's good. I knew he was good. I knew last year was a down year, but he looked better. The Jets' offensive line was a lot more aggressive. But Braylon Allen's a good player. The thing with Braylon Allen is, which is frustrating, and this is the situation with a lot of running backs in the league, Braylon Allen is so good with carries 15 through 20, if you know what I mean. If Braylon Allen gets to wear down the defense in the first half, if he gets to set things up, if he gets to really, feel the hits, run the football, get into the game, get into a rhythm, Braylon Allen starts to take over. But if he's coming in cold, if he's just mixing and matching, if he's just spelling Breece Hall, that's where Braylon Allen's just not going to be efficient. And that, unfortunately, is the situation. So he's a handcuff with upside right now. You're hoping, if you have to start him, you could do worse for a bye week fill-in at flex or RB2, just because he has guaranteed touches, and he's a short yardage guy, so he's a higher touchdown probability than most people. But more than anything, he's not taking over this backfield unless there's an injury to Breece Hall. That's the situation. He's still one of the best handcuffs in fantasy, but you're hopefully not having to start him because if he doesn't get the touchdown, he's not going to be good right now, right? But if Breece Hall goes down, we know Isaiah Davis is going to be used still as well. But we could see heavy Braylon Allen, and heavy Braylon Allen would be good. He'd be good. JT is in a class with the top guys, but that's kind of how I look at Braylon Allen. Fellow Badgers, right? Just feed carries, and towards the end of the game, big plays, touchdowns. Lazy analysis to Derrick Henry, but you could do that as well. There's so many guys that they just get better and better and better as the game goes along. Josh Jacobs is one of those guys. Most running backs are, to be completely honest, but especially the guys that are not the change of pace. Ramondre Stevenson is one of those guys. If people want to talk about Ramondre Stevenson not being efficient, fine, whatever. But if you gave him a heavier workload, he would be more efficient. And Henderson's not going to be a bell cow by any stretch of the imagination. So in New England, people just kind of got to grow up and get over that. Nick also has Njoku and Tyler Warren in a best ball league. I love that. Trying to trade Njoku. I don't mind that. I'm not sure if I'm trying to trade him right now. But I don't think you need to. I think Tyler Warren's the truth. He's probably the player I hyped up most in the preseason, the offseason. I love Tyler Warren. So 0 ounce of me thinks anything we saw week 1 from him is a fluke. But tight ends are iffy. The Colts offense, I'm not expecting to be as good as it was in week 1, which just means his touchdown upside probably goes down later or in most weeks. So I don't think you need to move on from Njoku. But if you can improve something, I don't mind trading Njoku for a lesser tight end and an upgrade somewhere else. If you do Njoku and a shitty RB3 for an RB2 and a inconsistent tight end, cool. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. That would be fine to do. In a couple of weeks, I'll have my trade value chart out. Still iffy if it's going to be public or if it's just going to be for members. I think the membership link is in the description. $5 per month or $35 for a full calendar year. But that trade value chart definitely helps a ton because that'll combine rest of season rankings. It'll combine overall value of what people think of a player. I do my trade value a little bit different than other sites. I think it's better in my opinion, but lots of stuff to stay tuned for. Since there's people here now, let me give you the schedule one more time. So I think on Monday afternoons like this is going to be a mainstay. We're just going to be hanging out, talking about the fantasy football weekend, talking about fantasy football news, giving a little start sit, little ad drop, little of everything on Monday afternoons. Tuesday night, tomorrow night, we'll be doing a waiver wire show and at night, so not afternoon, but we'll be doing a waiver wire show, ad drop. So definitely come and tune in, hang out, talk football, and listen to us talk about that. On flurrysports.org on Tuesday mornings, we'll have that waiver wire article as well. Speaking of articles, if you haven't seen it yet, 3,000 plus words on snap counts and a full breakdown from me. You can go over there right now as well. Wednesdays, we used to do a fantasy show. We are doing just Lombardi sweep on Wednesday nights. That is going to be a Green Bay Packers show. Thursday nights, about an hour before Thursday night kickoff. We'll go all the way up to kickoff, start sit show. So definitely tune in for that. We'll help you with a bunch of your lineup situations there. And Luke has a survivor pick video that's out on Thursday mornings as well. So we got something Monday, Tuesday, Thursday for fantasy. Wednesday is just for the Green Bay Packers. Come tune in because we got a Thursday night game and we could give you some fantasy insights there as well. With A-Chain playing yesterday and the Dolphins offense looking atrocious, is Ollie still worth the handcuff over getting Johnston, Juju, Juwan? He's not worth it over Johnston at the moment. If you need I think he's not worth it over Juwan Johnson. Or I think he is worth it over Juwan Johnson, sorry. But I don't think you need to go. It depends on if you need a tight end. I just don't need a rush to pick up Juwan Johnson. Juju's weird. That's fully dependent on the Xavier Worthy news if he's out this week. But like this Dolphins shit, like Dolphins suck. Like we don't need to pretend. Their offensive line got worse. Everyone was telling me it got better. Tua sucks. Tua is the worst human of all time. I hate him. Dolphins will be better than what they showed. But that is, I said preseason. I think they're in the running for the first overall draft pick. Overreaction Monday. Now they're definitely in the running. Trey Pacheco for Shakir. Depends on what you need, but I love that. Just looking at Pacheco's snaps really quickly. He split pretty well with Kareem Hunt. Jesus. I spelled that wrong. That's really good. Again, wrote this at 2 a.m. I need to go back and edit it. I'm not sure why I didn't edit it before I posted it. But yeah, he only played half the snaps. Obviously, the Chiefs were chasing points a little bit. If the Chiefs were in the lead, Pacheco probably sees a few more touches. But if you need a wide receiver 3, I suppose, and you're already not starting Pacheco, I don't hate it. It depends on your running back depth, but I don't hate that trade because I think Shakir is going to be steady, and I think Pacheco is going to be mid. Like I think he's only valuable if he falls in for a touchdown. Nick says he'd take Johnston all day if you can get him. I think so too. Little worried it's fool's gold, but he's all right. Everyone loves him. I would just rather have Juwan than Kraft, in my opinion. Probably me being a Lions fan. No, it's not. I'm a Packer fan. You do not want Tucker Kraft. I'm telling you that right now. The dude doesn't. He got lucky. He got a touchdown this week. Tell you that much. Last year, I have my opportunity index. It measures air yards, it measures depth of targets, it measures targets overall, red zone targets, everything, right? Tucker Kraft's value last season, at least, just talking last year, relied fully on yards after the catch, which is insane to do, to want for a tight end, for a tight end in general, for one. But then two, he's not a speed guy. He's just a physical guy. So you're hoping to God that he stiff arms somebody and there's no one behind him to tackle. The Lions just played so shitty, which kind of broke my heart, even as a Packer fan, because I love the Lions too. I love Dan Campbell, but yeah, Tucker Kraft is going to be wildly inconsistent. So if you can get somebody who has close to the same ceiling as him and is just consistent, take it. Because I'm not relying on 3 to 4 targets per game that are all within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage and you're praying to God he breaks a tackle. That's not the way to win fantasy football. I can tell you that. Got Chuba because he's a Panthers fan. May have to stop watching us play though because Bryce Young's so garbage. I need to go watch that game back. Was he bad? Like, was he pre-benched bad? Obviously, it wasn't great if you lost the Jags, but yeah, Bryce Young isn't it, right? Just from what I watched last year, he's like, somewhere between quarterback 25 through 28, maybe. Like, he's not the truth. He's not the worst. Are you going to win anything because of Bryce Young? No. Might as well tank and take one of the quarterbacks in this upcoming draft because there's good ones. Glad we got rid of Baker and Darnold to trade everything away and give Bryce Young outstanding ownership. Yeah, ownership in Carolina is not great. I will say the Packers front office is also very, very, very bad, but vibes are high because of what just happened. So we'll see how this crashes and burns in Green Bay, because it will. But I fully get why you're pessimistic and why people around me are saying Brian Gutekunst is a genius, even though he's a narcissistic prick who doesn't know anything about football. Whole team was bad. There was drop passes. He's also missed Renfrow and a wide open touchdown. How did Renfrow look? Renfrow is so interesting. I think he's almost guaranteed to fully lose his job once Coker's back. But that fall off for him was so weird. He was so dominant in just route running. And then he had whatever sickness that was. But even still, he just fell off a cliff without Gruden. So if he can create consistent separation, I wonder if he's an interesting pickup for a few weeks. What is the Panthers schedule? Late bye week, they got Arizona, Atlanta, New England. And then Miami and Dallas. That's interesting. Carolina's interesting. If they can right the ship a little bit and we can get Bryce Young just delivering the ball to the open player, which I feel your pain, right? Because Jordan Love, this was the best game Jordan Love's ever played. And he still has 20-30% of throws that just aren't close. He doesn't throw anything on target, Thoughts on what happens with Ford and even Sampson once Judkins starts? Those 8 catches saved him. I talked about this a little bit, and keep in mind, I'm not a Jerome Ford guy. But Sampson's role is safe. Judkins is going to enter a role that's exactly the same as Ohio State. He's coming in to take exactly what Judkins did. Or not, Judkins is coming in to take exactly what Ford did, which is he played 41 of the 76 snaps. He carried the ball a bunch. He's going to be that early down guy. That's what Judkins is going to be. Dylan Sampson's role is safe. He had 8 catches. I don't know if it's going to be 8 catches in the future, probably closer to 5 to 6. But this is the Thunder and Lightning backfield. This is the Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. This is the Judkins, Trevion Henderson at Ohio State last year. That's all it's going to be. So I think Judkins, once he's up to speed, and I think he's eased in next week, and then maybe weeks 4 or 5, I think maybe he's fully up to speed. I think he comes in to take Jerome Ford's spot, and I think Dylan Sampson stays the same. So not worried about that. If you have Ford, I mean, he's fully droppable in my opinion. I can't imagine you could trade him. But Sampson, he's one of the best pickups this week. If he's available in your league, I don't mind picking him up as a flex in a PPR. I think his ceiling is obviously limited. I'm not going out and spending a lot of money for him, a lot of fab for him. I'm not going to do that, but I think he's good. I think he's a really good player. And then I think his role is kind of safe. It's just a limited role. He's a specialist role. He plays the same role as Trevion Henderson plays in New England. But people love one and are ignoring the other. I think Judkins could be good. Ford is garbage. Bingo. 100% true. And the Browns' offensive line isn't bad. It's not what it used to be, but it's not bad. Browns play who coming up? He's here somewhere. Sampson's the 4th most picked up player. They play Baltimore, so not the easiest. They play Green Bay. Green Bay coming off of a long week because Green Bay plays on Thursday. So that's not the most easy. And then Detroit, maybe Detroit has their shit figured out by that point. And then Minnesota, then Pittsburgh. So not the easiest schedule for the Browns. However, this role is good for Dylan Sampson because I assume the Ravens win and they're chasing points. So I think Dylan Sampson's going to catch a bunch of passes. The Packers notoriously always can't cover the pass against running backs. They do not cover routes out of the backfield, and they don't really cover tight ends very well either. So I think Sampson's going to catch a bunch of passes there. The Lions, if the Lions offense is back full up to speed, then he's going to catch passes there. Vikings are going to blitz a shit ton. We'll see that tonight. When they blitz, they're just going to have to check it down quickly. That's going to be Dylan Sampson there. Steelers, very similar. Just going to be checking it down there. And then we get the Dolphins, who might be the worst team in football. So honestly, if the schedule shapes up good for one Browns running back, it's Dylan Sampson at the moment. What's up, Gary? In a super flex, got Young and Ward backing up Lamar. Thoughts on dropping Ward for Penix? I'm not sure if I would do that. Let me look at their schedule, but I don't know if I would do that. I like both of them. I'm obviously a huge Penix guy. Have to be careful how I say that so I don't get clipped. But if Penix is going to be missing Drake London and Darnell Mooney next week, that stinks. He does have the Vikings on a short week. Not super short, but a short week. Vikings secondary is not very good, but the defensive front is really good. So if he doesn't have London or Mooney, that's going to hurt. He has Panthers after that. That's easy. Sorry. Panthers fan in chat. Then he's got Washington. I'm not really afraid of that. Then he's got a bye week. So that's a little tough. Ward, who I think is good. He just played the best defense in football. He has the Rams, not easy. Colts, which I think he can beat. Texans isn't easy, but beatable. Then Cardinals, Raiders, and then Patriots are tough. I think I would still hold tough, hold strong. Hopefully he runs the ball a little bit more. More than 0 is, nowhere to go up but up. But hopefully he runs the ball a little more. I think his receiving core is okay. I think Kelvin Ridley's pretty good. Ayo Manor is good. I think Chig Okonkwo's okay. Tyler Lockett. I mean, I'm a big Shamir DK fan. Shout out former Badger. I think I would hold strong with Ward. Both are fine. Neither are outstanding. I don't think much changes. But if it's super flex and you only have 2 quarterbacks, Or, I mean, maybe you have 3, I'm not sure. But this is your third quarterback. The early bye week for Penix kind of stinks. So not having the not having his top receivers plus an early bye week, like I assume he's going to just not get picked up or he's going to get dropped at some point anyway. So I think you can ride with Ward for the moment. Was going to look up picking up Judkins till I realized I already had Njoku and Tillman. Can't justify 3 Browns. I get that. However, the thing is with these bad teams is they don't really have a ton of depth. So you kind of know where the touches are going to go. You understand what the Browns are going to do. So that's good at least. But yeah, I just went through the schedule. I like Judkins as a player. I think that schedule over the next month or so is going to be tough. I do. But if Joe Flacco's there, man, if Joe Flacco's still at quarterback, I think Njoku and Tillman are good. Once Flacco's not at quarterback, everything changes. It's the same thing that happened with Jameis last year. Jameis comes in, everything changes. Flacco came in before that, everything changes. If they have a competent quarterback who knows where to go with the football and can make the throws, that Browns offense completely changes. Even if Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel can make the throws, they don't really know where to go with the football yet. Yeah, I wouldn't mind betting against your team every week. And appreciate you, Luke. Appreciate it. If you like it, flurrysports.org. Again, this article has a lot of my thoughts in it. Just posted it this morning. So notable snap counts, week 1 analysis, 3,000 plus words, including typos that will be edited after the stream. The notable snap counts from all 15 games so far, and then a little blurb about it. Some of them more insightful than others because there really isn't much to say. But I would definitely go check that out. And then I have a team of writers here, so we're going to be putting out a bunch of fantasy content, but a lot of it will be me as well. As you can see, this week I did a lot of it just because I wanted to set the tone, including my best take of having fucking Xavier Worthy as the poster child for receivers. Obviously can't predict that, but that broke my heart a little bit. But yeah, I appreciate you. If y'all like this, definitely subscribe. If you want to hit that notification bell, if I want to do all this YouTube shit. Just so you know, again, Monday afternoons, like we're doing right now, this is going to be a mainstay. This is going to be a weekly thing. Just come hang out, listen, talk football, whatever you want. Obviously, as the season progresses, you probably have more questions about what to do with your team. Cool. I'm here for you. Tuesday evenings, same place. We got the ad drop show, the waiver wire show. Thursday nights, an hour before Thursday Night Football kickoff. Up to it, we'll have the start sit show right here. And then a lot of these streams are going to get cut up into individual videos. So if you can't tune into the stream and you just want the notable videos, I have a second channel that we are just starting to build up called Fantasy Football by Committee. And I advise you, recommend even, to go follow that. Fantasy Football by Committee, FFBC. And a lot of it. So like talking about what? Talked about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt a little bit. We'll probably cut that up today. We'll probably cut up the Browns running back stuff. Yeah. And if you guys have any suggestions now, after the fact, whenever, for like specific content you want to see, whether it be videos, whether it be articles, whether it be anything, let me know. Because the hardest part of this sometimes is just figuring out what you guys want to see, read, watch, whatever. So if you let us know specifically what you want, we'll probably do it. We have a pretty good team here, and the track record for myself speaks for itself. If you guys don't know who I am, I've been doing not to talk about myself like that. Do you know who I am? But I've been doing fantasy shit for a while, and like last year, Fantasy Pros consensus rankings, I was top 10 for in-season rankings, number 6. Top 10 for draft rankings, top 5 for running backs, top 5 for wide receivers, I think top 5 for kickers. Not that they include that into the overall for whatever reason. And then this season, I'm doing IDP as well because I feel like I can prove to people that I can just do it. That's kind of my thoughts. But I know what I'm talking about. I've coached the game. I've coached NFL players, D1 players. I've done a lot of shit in the football world. I kind of have a decent, unique insight knowing pretty much every angle. So hopefully you like the insight. And I kind of just give it to you straight. I'm not a stats nerd. I just kind of tell you who's good at football. And that's kind of what we do. We kind of create our own game plan and just say, hey, if I was the Lions, I would do this. And then they usually do that. You know, should have won my league last year, dropped Brock Purdy during the championship game. If I held on to him, I would have won, scored twice the amount of points he had all year. That stinks. I had not that specific situation, but I had Jalen Hurts in too many leagues last year. And if you remember that, I think is week 1 of the fantasy football playoffs, he got hurt immediately. And that stunk. That was a couple $1,000 injury. James Conner had a similar thing. He hurt his knee and then was walking around on the sideline. Loser. Was not hurt. He played the next week. He was fine. Glad he did that. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. If you want to join the membership, link in the description. Again, $5 per month, $35 for a full year. Get to join a private group chat with me. You get all in-season stats, including snap counts, including trade index, opportunity index, all kinds of good shit. Moving forward, how do we feel about Pacheco and Ken Walker? I feel like Walker's done as a solid option unless Charbonnet gets hurt, but Pacheco still has upside to be what he was. I talked about both of them, but to summarize my points earlier, essentially, I think Ken Walker is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL, but I think Zach Charbonnet is more suited for this Kubiak offense. So I think it's going to be essentially a 50-50 split. We saw Charbonnet get more snaps this week. It's a combination of Charbonnet being a better fit, and they want to keep Ken Walker healthy because he's a home run threat whenever he's healthy. So I think it's going to be an even split, which hurts both of them. You're kind of just hoping for a touchdown, and you're hoping one of them gets hurt for clarity, because if one gets hurt, they're both RB1s. So unfortunately, I think they're both low-end RB2 or flex value the rest of the way, assuming both are healthy. That stinks. I think that's the situation. Pacheco, he will be better if the Chiefs are in the lead. If the Chiefs are in the lead, he'll run the football more. Obviously, touchdown upside's higher at that point as well. But I don't love him either. I'm not a huge Pacheco guy. I guess I never have been. But again, he is more a flex than an RB2 in my opinion, and you were just hoping for a touchdown. What's the chances Pacheco runs for 100 yards? It just feels very, very low. I say that, and maybe he'll do it this week. He plays the Eagles, so probably not. But yeah, I think there's a decent split there with Kareem Hunt, and then I think maybe they bring Brashard Smith in a little bit more to get him more snaps, especially in passing situations. But yeah, if I have to be more optimistic about one of them, it's probably Ken Walker. But Nick says I see Ken Walker there. Ken Walker still has a chance to be good. Everyone said that about Gibbs last year because Montgomery crushed. Yeah. What I'll say is about that comparison, Seahawks offense has no chance to be what the Lions offense was last year. We had again, let's show this box score one more time. Darnold needs to learn to throw to somebody else. Am I blocking it? Somewhat. I'll move this. I'll fly over here. Cooper Kupp ran the most snaps, or ran the most routes, had the most snaps, and was targeted 3 times. He's a good buy low candidate, but regardless, throw to somebody else. I love Jackson Smith and Jigba. With Sam Darnold, I don't know how great this offense is going to be. It's a Kubiak offense, so it's going to be simple and just a football player's offense, right? It's basic, but it's fine. it has no chance to be a 30-plus point offense. It just doesn't. That's not me saying you can't win games with it, but that's me saying it is what it is. They'll start using tight ends a little bit more. AJ Barner is going to see a shit ton of snaps just because of his blocking ability. They'll probably run more 12 personnel coming up as well. But yeah. So it's not as good of an offense. So in terms of they'll play more plays. How many snaps did they just have? Go back to this. They ran 52 plays. Let's assume they get closer to 60, 65. So we're hoping both Charbonnet and Ken Walker play like 28 plays each, 30 plays each. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough given their offense's upside to be anything more than an RB2. Is there a chance they both become RB2s? Yes. Is it super likely? Probably not. And is it as likely as Gibbs and Montgomery? For sure, no. Rest in peace, the Lions, though, man. They'll bounce back. They'll get better. But that offensive line needs to get better in a hurry. Because if there's one thing about Jared Goff, it's that he's not good at football. So he needs to have a clean pocket and just throw to the open guy. If he sees pressure whatsoever, he turns into a potato. I think Darnold is better than most people do. He played for the Jets and then us to start his career, not set up well for success. I mean, I think it's a little bit of everything. I don't think Darnold's outstanding, and I think those organizations suck. So, I mean, was it more of a Darnold problem or a Jets problem when he was with the Jets? Probably Jets. Same thing with Panthers, probably Panthers. Was it more of a Darnold thing or more of a Kevin O'Connell thing with the Vikings last year? I think Kevin O'Connell. But maybe we'll get a little bit of a better idea of that tonight. I think Kevin O'Connell is a genius, personally. I think he's one of the best offensive minds in football. At least at the quarterback position and then just simple play design, at least. I think he's very, very good. I think J.J. McCarthy has the potential to be very, very good. Hopefully he doesn't have any handcuffs on him. I think it's a very simple offense for Darnold to run in Seattle too. He just needs to be better. he needs to be better than what he just showed. Throw it to the tight end on time. Throw it to the running back on time because the Kubiak offense is built on these super, super easy throws. And Darnold just wasn't doing it. Just make the easy throw. Tight end, running back, and then you have the crosser, and then you have the deep shot. But instead it was throw to JSN, throw to JSN, throw to JSN, throw to JSN. Oh, is Cooper Kupp open? Throw to JSN, throw to JSN. And that's just not going to work. Not game-changing quarterback, but he moves with his team. Yeah, fair. You're not going to win because of him, but you can win with him. That's the case for a bunch of quarterbacks, I would say. My dog's howling at something or somebody. Don't know if you heard that. What else? But yeah, I mean, Darnold's good enough to put up some points and to provide fantasy, value, right? Like, is JSN worse this year with Darnold than with Geno last year? No. And are they better than what they showed in week 1? Yes. All around there, I think. I think Ken Walker should get a little bit better. I think Cooper Kupp gets better. JSN, I mean, I think he'll continue to play that well. I think the tight ends get better. And what was Darnold's stats? 150. 150 yards, no touchdown, no interception. He'll get better. He's more of like a what? In this offense, he's probably like a 200 to 220 yard guy with a touchdown. How many? 3 targets to Ken Walker, no targets to Charbonnet. That's insane. Look for that to change a lot next week. Who do the Seahawks play? They play the Steelers. Look for Ken Walker and Charbonnet to combine for like 10 targets next week. That would be my guess. Ask any final questions while we're just sitting here. Then I might get out of here, edit some videos, publish them on Fantasy Football by Committee. And tonight, by the way, not a football stream, but tonight the Flurry Sports podcast is live. That should be, let me text when we're going to do it. Probably around 6 p.m. Central. And we just kind of talk sports in a jokey way. I don't watch it anymore, but we are essentially wrestling fans. We talk about football as if it's professional wrestling. We talk about the storylines. So if that interests you, definitely come hang out for that. That's usually a fun show. Around 6 ? Okay. Yeah, what we're doing tonight and every single week, we are figuring out the biggest storylines of the football season so we can look back on it and just say, hey, this is what the football season was. So I'm trying to figure out what the biggest storylines were for this week. I feel like the Jalen Carter spit was big. I feel like the kicking ball rule, the new/old kicking ball rule, I feel like that was a big deal. I feel like Aaron Rodgers being all the way back is big. I think the Chiefs, people are saying the Chiefs are screwed. I think that's a big storyline. I think Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson's big. Do we think Allen or Johnston has a better fantasy season for the Chargers? That's interesting. Let's talk per game basis because, we'll see if Keenan Allen holds up. I think per game basis, I think it's Keenan Allen. I really do. I think he's so solid, and I think he's just always going to be open. I think he's going to be very solid the entire year. Johnston, I feel like, is going to have peaks and valleys. I feel like he's going to do what he just did again. I just don't know if it's going to be consistent. I hope I'm wrong because I have him at least in one dynasty league, maybe in multiple. Like, I hope Johnston's good. I can't trust it yet. And let's talk wrestling. So if you tune in tonight, I think we probably will. So our dynamic essentially is I'm an old wrestling fan. I almost blocked you. I apologize. What is it? Okay. When I tried to click off your comment, I almost blocked you. Almost fucking banned you. My bad. I'm an old wrestling fan, so I was like Attitude Era, and I tune in for like the big shit now, like WrestleMania. I'll watch, SummerSlam I'll watch. I might go to SummerSlam next year since it's in the Twin Cities, so kind of buy me. And then my co-host, my cousin Jake, he is like an everyday wrestling fan, so he kind of keeps me tuned in and stuff like that. I'm a huge Cowboy Brock guy though, so now that Brock's back, I need to start watching again. He's the man. Love Brock Lesnar. But we kind of think of sports and everything sort of as professional wrestling. Everything's a storyline, what's going on. And we are usually right in our predictions because of that, because sports is just, it's reality TV, MVP awards, just a popularity awards, just about best storyline. We predicted the Chiefs' downfall every single year before Mahomes, and we predicted the Chiefs' success every year since. Stuff like that. Everything's a storyline. If you just see through it, it's pretty simple to navigate, I would say. So that's usually fun to talk about sports in that way. And college football especially. College football is very, very storyline driven. It's very fun. And wrestling is funny. People who hate wrestling take it way too seriously. Just watch it for fun. Like it's just a good time. It's just fucking goofing around. I think Quentin Johnston's a great player for best ball leagues for sure. For sure. Headache if you have to pick him. There's so many people like that. It's like, at any point, are you going to trust putting them in your lineup? If the answer is no, I don't know why you need to own them. I'd rather just own somebody who I know is going to be good if X happens. if this player gets hurt, then I play this guy. If I have Quentin Johnston, I'm fine picking him up just to see if there's any consistency there. But if he has a bad week next week, then what's the scenario where you play Quentin Johnston at any point? Because if Ladd gets hurt, does that make you more confident in Quentin Johnston? If Keenan Allen gets hurt, are you more confident? If it's a good matchup, are you more confident? Like there's no scenario if Johnston's bad next week where I feel good about owning him at any point the rest of the way. But for this week, for sure pick him up. For sure see if there's anything there. If they crack the code, if he's good to go, if he's the main part of the offense, great. Then play him until he proves you wrong. But yeah, half the battle with fantasy football is just who can give you consistent production. Who's a trustworthy start week in and week out. And that's why I have the another tool I have for members, I guess. It's a boom bust and consistency ranking. So it ranks who is worthy of being a start on a every single week. Like who like last year, Jahmyr Gibbs was never a bust, which means he was never below running back, I think 24. Like who can you trust week in and week out? And then who's going to have those massive game wrecking performances for you, whether good or bad. Like it's a really useful tool, but that's half of fantasy football at this point. Loved wrestling as a kid, got back into the Attitude Era, gave up again, followed some stuff on YouTube. When it clicks, it's great for sure. And they're doing some good stuff now, but then, half the shit is like, let's bring back Goldberg again. There's certain things in wrestling that are fun and it's good. They just need to lean into the wild shit a little bit more. Like when they were doing, I'm not sure if you saw it a few years ago when Johnny Knoxville wrestled at WrestleMania, one of the best matches of all time. You see Wee Man come out and body slam somebody. That's awesome. You need to have more of that shit. It doesn't need to be serious. It just needs to be fun. And are we talking Keon Coleman over Keenan Allen? I assume those are the Colemans and Allens. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes. But the answer is yes. But I'm still skeptical if he's a week in, week out starter for you. But I for sure want him over Keenan Allen. His upside's way higher and his floor probably close to the same. I think Keenan Allen's floor is a little higher, but they need to have Keon Coleman be the wide receiver one. And Gary's right. Mankind, Mr. Sacco. Love that. One of the best moments of all time, in my opinion, is the Royal Rumble. If you don't know, spoiler alert, Mick Foley, who plays Mankind, he also had different characters as Dude Love. Dude Perfect's different. Dude Love, Cactus Jack. He had 3, maybe 4 different wrestling characters. The Royal Rumble where he would get eliminated and come out as the new character. Incredible stuff. Santiago. No, it was definitely Mankind. Yeah, definitely Mankind. Unless there's something else you're thinking of. But yeah, not the sock with the face drawn on it. Put it in their mouth, make them go to sleep. Yeah, that's Mankind. Get freaking choke slammed off a cage by Undertaker. Another iconic moment. There was one series we're thinking about doing on this channel, and it's probably not during the football season type of show. But my co-host for the Flurry Sports Podcast, who you'll see tonight, again, the week in, week out wrestling guy, we were going to organize, cultivate a list of some wrestling shit, some iconic moments and stuff, and then watch it with some of the other people from Flurry Sports who never watched wrestling and ease them into it. It was going to be showing the newbies of wrestling the fun shit, the things that would usually get you into wrestling. We were going to do that. We thought that would be a fun show. Show a bunch of Stone Cold stuff on top of a beer truck. The grocery store fight with Booker T, stuff like that. We might do that. Yeah, going on YouTube, watching all this old shit. It's so good. It's so good. Watching an old Stone Cold compilation, watching Undertaker was my wrestler growing up, Undertaker and Stone Cold. So all of that stuff is incredible. Some Too Cool stuff with Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty. I like that. DX. Rest in peace to the Hulkster. Some NWO stuff. That was all good. The snake was a sock or something like that, says Nick. I don't know what you're talking about. The only snake I can think of is with Jake the Snake. That's like super old school. Let me look. Santiago. Everything's recycled, right? So like it wouldn't surprise me if there was something adjacent here. Okay, it turns out if you type in Santiago wrestling, you will get a lot of search results that do not help you whatsoever. WWE Santino, WWE Cobra. Oh, yeah, you're right. Santino. Look at this. Yeah, you're fully right. This is just, this is just a ripoff of, this is the almost like the lucha version of fucking Mankind at this point. Yeah, it's a snake sock puppet thing. Nailed it. Never heard of that. What we were talking about, just so you know, is this. We were talking about Mankind with Mr. Sacco. Let me move my camera. So yeah, boom. You can see the similarities, at least in terms of the sock puppet. Interesting. Jericho ripping up little kid signs. He's doing that, at least, as of, I think, a couple years ago. But there was someone at AEW, a little kid who got into the little kid was talking shit on Chris Jericho, got the whole crowd into it. That was good. But yeah, you nailed it with Santiago. You almost got that. But yeah, same stuff. Everything's cyclical in wrestling. Just rinse and repeat for pretty much every gimmick. Except for at the moment, I think there's not going to be another like Bray Wyatt situation. If you know that, go look up that wrestler who died of COVID complications. I think is what the ultimate thing was, heart attack or something. But yeah, he had some weird. He was like a cult leader. He had this children's show that was like demonic, which is awesome. It was such a good gimmick. He had the Fiend, like this. If you're not a wrestling fan, like recently, and want to watch just a cool gimmick to go back and look at, this Firefly. Oh, Funhouse, not Playhouse. It's almost like a spoof of a Pee-wee's Playhouse thing. This was so interesting. And it was like talking shit a lot of times on Vince McMahon and doing stuff like that. Super cool. And then he would turn into the Fiend. And then now his brother is taking over, not the Firefly Funhouse, but the cult shit. This is his brother. Yeah, this is one of the coolest gimmicks of all time. This is what they're doing with it now that he's died. Yeah. What a tangent. What a tangent. Not sure if there'll be another Boogeyman. Probably not. Probably not. Not exactly Boogeyman, but one of the coolest. Oh God, what's his name? One of the coolest entrances of all time, in my opinion. And then we'll get out of here. But Gangrel entrance with Edge and Christian. This shit was sick. Yeah, they would like come up from the fire, like this flaming circle, and they'd come up essentially from fucking hell. Love Edge, by the way. But like sipping wine or blood or whatever it's supposed to be. That was such a cool entrance. Definitely one of the ugliest motherfuckers of all time, but great gimmick. And Edge is still doing his shit. This isn't recent though, Nick. I think he may have come back just like super recently as like a little spot, but this is like, I don't know, 2005 maybe, decades ago. But yeah. I think it was definitely after Boogeyman, but yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, honestly, who's like the Boogeyman, like Gangrel in that weird thing? It was The Fiend, the one that we're just looking at with Bray Wyatt. What you do? This was like his alter ego is probably the wrong word, but he was like this unstoppable, unbeatable, just fucking paranormal, insane. He would like pop up. They did the exact same spots that Kane used to do, where he'd pop up from the middle of the ring and like pull somebody into hell, essentially. The Fiend pop up from ring, I guess. Oh, fucking, I don't mean this. Potentially getting my channel shut down with the search, but hole in ring. Oh yeah, like he would, the exact same thing that they did with Kane, but he would like pop up from the middle of the ring and then pull them through that hole. Pretty sick. But yeah, I suppose he's similar to Boogeyman. Yeah. That Brood entrance, it's sick. It's one of the best. It's one of the best. And Edge, rated R superstar. My dude, one of the goats for sure. I'll leave you on that. Leave you wanting more. How about that? But yeah, tonight, probably around 6 p.m. Central, if you want to just hang out, talk wrestling, talk football, definitely come back. Whether you want to follow me on Twitter at Fantasy Flurry, this YouTube channel, it'll be live on all of them again. Definitely come hang out, talk wrestling, talk football. But then tomorrow night, we'll do our waiver wire show. So if you have any more questions about waiver wire stuff, definitely come and talk there or comment on this video or any other videos we got. And I will try to be popping in to the comments and answering questions there, as will other people from Flurry, I'm sure. I'm not even joking, Nick. Spot for spot, camera angle for camera angle, the exact same thing. It's not even like, it's not even close to different. There's no, I'm not sure if there's compilations of them just playing back to back, and not like once. They did it like 5 times the exact same, which is a cool nod. But yeah, it was the exact same. Sick to my stomach drafting Golden over Ibuka. Yes, mistake. But Golden should get better. The issue is it's the Packers. As a Packer fan, I'm telling you. One, Jordan Love's not very good. He just played his best game. Will there be any consistency to that? We'll see. Probably not. But then the Packers, they use their best players as decoys more often than they need to. Once Jayden Reed's healthy, get ready for it. we're going to have so many decoy plays with Jayden Reed. Matthew Golden, probably the same thing, but his snaps will rise. He just didn't play that many snaps in this game. He'll get better. He's by far the best receiver on the Packers. The issue is Jordan Love's best play requires Romeo Doubs, because Jordan Love's best play in football is the underthrown deep ball. He just throws it up. It's a terrible throw. And then Romeo Doubs is the GOAT of adjusting to the football. And then 50-50 chance if Romeo Doubs gets hit and hurt with that play. But he makes Jordan Love look really good. Yeah, definitely ask any final questions before I get out of here. Definitely are coming in at the right time. It's week 1. Everything could change. I think Lazard was the top 3 receiver after week 1 last year. Fair. He was for sure a pickup. It's like Rodgers has got his guy. Good to go. Yeah, for sure. That could be a video or an article, like which week 1 performances has the biggest chance to be just a major fluke. And I would be lying if I said the Johnston performance wouldn't be on my list. I hope I'm wrong, but it feels like a fluke. Does Xavier Worthy have any trade stock if he's able to play with the injury? That's essentially a 5th round redraft pick lit on fire if he's cooked. For sure, if he's healthy or not healthy, if he's active, he will still see snaps and targets. The Chiefs know how to get the ball, especially to these fast guys, in space and limit contact. I mean, we've seen it with Tyreek Hill there so often. So if Xavier Worthy plays this week, I still think he touches the ball 5-6 times. So he'll still have trade value. He'll still have actual value. I don't think you can trade him without having a decent performance, though, unfortunately. Like, I'm not sure if you are unless you have like the biggest Chiefs fan or Xavier Worthy fan. That's the only way I think you can trade him for fair value. Otherwise, you kind of have to hang on to him until he just puts up a performance, which I think is possible. Was debating trying to throw Worthy with our RB2 and 3 for an upgraded running back. I think you could do that. I don't think you'll get fair value. So if you want to just completely remove the risk of dealing with Worthy and the chance that he just doesn't bounce back at all, fine. I think that's a mistake, but I think you could upgrade a running back if you choose to do that. Taken out by your own tight ends, crazy work. Kelsey didn't hit him that hard. He didn't, but as someone who has dislocated his shoulder, I mean, that's what ended my football career, is just so many dislocations that shit just got too torn and ruined, and my shoulder's still not good. It's just an angle thing. And who knows? Like, there's a chance Worthy dislocated it or just had a sublux with his shoulder at any point in the offseason or anything. So if that's the case, like, this is your shoulder, right? If it came out here, or just even if it's a sublux, which means it just goes like this and pops back in, it's not a full dislocation, or like this is just partial and then it pops back in, then these tendons stretch out. So then his shoulder is looking like this, right? Because that's where it came out. So then it's just an angle thing. So then it's easier to slide out here. Just realized the motion I'm doing here. But then things just get torn. It's easier to dislocate. It gets more painful every single time. So that's the issue. That's the issue. There's a chance that this was already an issue and it happened. Otherwise, it's just an angle thing. And then now they're going to have to put a brace on it to ensure it doesn't come out that exact same way, because it's going to be easier for it to pop out in that exact direction again. But that's what the MRI does, because if these are torn, then the chances of that recovering is way, way, way lower, if not fully to the bottom, right? So if it's just partially torn, if it's just stretched, they just kind of have to limit the amount of movement. So work on your one-handed catches, I suppose. Drewski, new chatter, I think. If not, welcome back. But cool, seeing people on Twitch. Would you do JCM for Ridley if I already have Chase Brown and Bijan? Very interesting. Also has Pickens, Golden, and Garrett Wilson. I would do that. Yes. I would prefer to do something like JCM and Golden for an even better wide receiver upgrade, but I would do that. I think it was just a perfect storm for Ridley and Cam Ward this week. Broncos are legit. They're so good. So better days ahead for Ridley, better days ahead for Cam Ward. I would do that trade in a vacuum, but I think you could do better if you package it with somebody like Golden. Try it out, though. Overall, yes, though. I traded J.K. Dobbins and DJ Moore for 8-chain last year. Worked out perfectly. Yeah, that's huge. And they were both decent last year. Two players I love this year. I'm excited to see how they use DJ Moore tonight. Real chance he lines up in the backfield. Real chance the offense flows through him. However, if you're playing a little fantasy tonight, didn't mean to click that. If you're playing a little fantasy tonight, need a cheap option that's sneaky, I think look at a limited Zacchaeus. Everyone wants the other three? Yeah, the other three Bears wide receivers above Zacchaeus. Real chance he's used a shit ton tonight for Chicago. Who would I target as a better option? So I think that's fair if you do 1-for-1. If you do JCM and Golden, let's look. We'll do it based on, because everyone's value is going to be looking at the current fantasy leaders, right? Do we have that data up? Yes, we do. So if we're assuming everybody is doing this based on recency bias, which is almost definitely true and fair, then I would do both of them for... He's hurt, but I would still do it for Drake London if you could pull that off. Do it for DK Metcalf if you could do that. I would love that. Again, I'm not 100% sure you can pull that trade off, but I don't think it's unfair to offer that. I wouldn't mind doing, if it's PPR, I wouldn't mind doing JCM and Golden for... I think I would do it for Ricky Pearsall. I think he's going to see this type of production pretty much every week. An interesting trade would be JCM for Keenan Allen straight up. I think that might be slightly better than Calvin Ridley. It's close, though. Or Michael Pittman. Maybe, depending on the owner, you could maybe pull a Terry McLaurin if you combine the two. There's going to be certain people in your league who panic unless you play with a bunch of extremely experienced people. And even still, experienced people panic too. They overthink it. So I wouldn't mind packaging the two and try to trade for somebody who just had a bad week, but you know is good. And hope that person's panicking, especially if they lost. If they had a bad performance from a player you are pretty confident is good and they lost, you might be able to, get a little cheeky there. Are we trading Henderson for Breece? Yes. Yes. Not even a second thought. How far do I have Ladd McConkey from Tyreek? In terms of rankings, I would assume you're saying. In my draft rankings, am I able to actually see that still? Do I have this up? No, I don't. Okay, good. Let me log into my draft rankings just to show you what I had pre-season, because in my mind, nothing's really changed there. Draft. And again, you're talking to the Fantasy Pros top 5 wide receiver ranker here. Humble brag, not humble at all. Ladd I had at 11 in half PPR, Tyreek at 21. And in terms of like week 1, the only thing we saw is the Dolphins offense is bad. But I'm telling you that I projected this assuming the Dolphins offense was bad. I think Tyreek Hill gets better. And I think he finishes fine. I think he finishes around 21. I think Ladd finishes around 11. In terms of where their value is, in terms of how you could trade this player, I think drastically different. I think Tyreek Hill is way lower in terms of his trade value, but I think he finishes better, if that makes sense to you. But there is still quite a bit different, you know? I put Ladd above Tyreek at this point. Yeah, for sure. No second guesses about that. Tyreek and the Dolphins in general, if they have another game like this, which they certainly could, certainly possibly should, they play the Patriots. I think Patriots defense is good. That team's going to implode completely. And the thing is with Tyreek, which is the issue here, Tyreek could get traded and be good. That's the issue with Tyreek. But in terms of the situations now, Ladd is for sure above him. Even if Tyreek gets traded, I think I have Tyreek lower. But is there a team, you tell me, is there a team that could use a wide receiver right now that maybe Tyreek Hill has played on before that, you know, maybe he's just had an injury, maybe another receiver suspended? I'm not sure. Would that ever happen? Does this thing ever always happen? Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Tyreek Hill gets traded to the fucking Chiefs and the Dolphins just eat his contract and give the Chiefs Tyreek Hill for cheap? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying that would it surprise me even the slightest bit? No. And if Tyreek Hill is back on the Chiefs, what's his value? I don't think he's a top 10 receiver again, but he's going to be good. He'll magically not be hurt. He'll magically have a good attitude, you know. I appreciate you guys commenting, hanging out, subscribing, giving this a like, and definitely if you're on YouTube, leave comments under the video afterwards, especially if you have comments or if you have questions rather. I'll answer them there as well. But if you just want to comment anything you want, as long as it's not extremely racist or bad, comments are good for the algorithm, so please do that. But we will be back tonight with a non-fantasy show, talking about sports still, non-fantasy, but tomorrow night, Tuesday night, waiver wire show here on the Flurry Sports channel. Definitely come back for that with any waiver wire questions you have.